What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. The woke backlash to both Bud Light and Miller Lite and Adidas and Target is at a fever pitch. I do have some concerns that, regular-minded people may be fighting a battle on too many fronts, and it's difficult to keep the pressure on. It's like, oh, what are we boycotting today? Okay, it's Target. Okay, well, it's also Adidas. Okay, it's Miller Lite. It's Bud Light. I think it'd be easier probably just to stay away from like super huge mega corporations. But I guess like when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and I would say that this probably doesn't end well for them. We're going to get into all that hilarity after a quick word from this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Look, it's 2023. If you don't have a VPN, you're missing out on a ton of benefits. Not just a more secure connection, but if you're paying for Netflix, Disney Plus, or any other streaming service, you're already getting locked out of a ton of additional content that you could be enjoying if you used a VPN. And since they've been sponsoring the channel so long, they've rolled out a massive discount for my viewers. That's right, 84% off plus 4 months free. It's $2.03 a month, 4 months free, 84% off. Private Internet Access also offers privacy on all your devices, lightning fast global server network. And look, outside of all the additional content you're going to be able to view out there using Private Internet Access, it also has a strict no logs policy. It's open source. It has state-of-the-art updates. It's instant to set up. You can put it on all of your devices, your tablet, your computer, your mobile phones. It has unlimited bandwidth and so much more. If you don't have a VPN yet, make today the day. Use my link in the description to get Private Internet Access, start being more secure, and unlock loads more content. Now, I saw earlier this week, we talked about the Miller Lite feminist ad that made wild assertions that beer just wouldn't exist if not for women. And I just think that, like, it's such a dumb assertion to make that, I don't think that the pushback on Miller Lite's going to be as tough or as strong, but it clearly has over the past 5 days. I mean, you can see the day, when the backlash started was Monday? No, it was like Tuesday, Wednesday. So you see a pretty significant drop in their stock. So like, I'm gonna guess that it's probably related. That said, this is just after they learned nothing from Bud Light. You see, Molson Coors Beverage Company stock falls Wednesday, underperforms the market, meaning like it fell in spite of the market not falling. It was the stock's third day of consecutive losses. Molson Coors Beverage closed $4.54 below its 52-week high. Is this because of the backlash? It's hard to say if it's entirely because of that. But when you also look at the two ways that the companies handle things, Miller Lite's response to the backlash is very different than Bud Light's. The response by Miller to the claims of going woke with a recent advertising campaign could not be more different to the way Bud Light has handled its own controversy, a leading brand strategist has said. Kelly O'Keefe, founding partner of Brand Federation, who has advised some companies including Capital One, Walmart, and UPS, told Newsweek that Bud Light's reaction has only exacerbated the controversy surrounding the brand. While Miller Lite's defense would see very little pushback, he predicted a year from now you'll see Miller Lite doing better than what Bud Light is. Miller Lite is the latest beverage brand to face calls for a boycott by conservatives on social media who took issue with an ad this week. First announced in March, but only kind of, resurfaced now because people are looking. The company said that the beer industry has alienated the very people who helped create it with outdated and spicy advertising, including some that the company produced in the past. The commercial depicts comedian Ilana Glazer, dropping Miller Lite poster featuring scantily clad women into a garbage can. I'm not going to go through the ad again, of course. Now, experts have said that such companies that provide an opportunity for brands to appeal to consumers in new markets, critics have accused companies of alienating their traditional customer base. Some LGBTQ plus campaigners have also criticized the company for not defending its ties. This is talking about Bud Light, for example. Bud Light and their leadership, including all the way up to the CEO, Brendan Whitworth, made a tragic mistake. I think trying to keep a hand in both sides and failing miserably at that. Bud Light and its parent company, of which Whitworth is the CEO, have been facing backlash since April after the beer brand sent a commemorative can to Dylan Mulvaney to celebrate their first year of quote-unquote transitioning to a woman. Well, I think that, that's easy to say right now because the Miller boycott has only started. It's gonna matter if conservative media outlets and like centrist media outlets start reporting regularly on any potential loss in sales. That's what's really made the two different. Miller Lite, having its, the feminist stuff kind of really just spin up this week. You're not going to see any, influx or reduction in sales in the very same week. I don't think that the backlash to Miller Lite was anywhere near as bad as it was for Bud Light. I think there's a lot of reasons for that, but that's it. Keefe said these moves did not stop the bleeding. It only contributed to all sides. They could have stood up above the political division represented in this and taken a stand at a more humanistic level and said that the fallout would have been much shallower. I think it would have been easy to say, look, we celebrate Kid Rock's right to drink whatever he wants to drink. We encourage him to keep buying cases of our product to blast with his weapons because it actually sells more beer, but we're not going to change our values based on the views of few. Well, that's bad advice. That would have been bad advice. How do these experts keep getting called experts when they don't understand the very market? I mean, I'm not even a beer drinker, but I know, exactly why that is. So I think you can see that's silly to think that Miller Lite's backlash is less than Bud Light's because of their response. As the article title implies, Miller Lite is not experiencing backlash because their ad is about women, while Bud Light is about someone in woman face. The ads couldn't be more different. That and Miller immediately dropped the ad campaign like it was radioactive. I don't know if they really dropped it or not. It just was like a YouTube thing that most people never even noticed. I think that, I don't have any problems with respecting women. Of course, I love women. But the idea that, beer wouldn't exist, when you say stuff like beer wouldn't exist without women, I think it's dumb and cringe. And so you're going to see that kind of stuff in all kind of these super global conglomerates. You see Joe Rogan mocks woke Miller Lite campaign. How many women are involved in making beer, he says. Let's take a look at the...
Maybe they spent a lot of money on it and they filmed it 6 months ago?
But
is
still,
that possible?
I'm already seeing that yet. There's an article from 2 months ago.
But still, you could put a pause on that.
Oh, it came out 2 months ago?
At least 2 months ago.
Okay.
You see, centuries later, how did the industry pay? So here to women, Rogan played the ad during Tuesday's episode of the Spotify podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, with author Jack Carr.
Okay, so it came out before the bullshit, right? Was that?
We just started seeing
but it's
that,
also crazy.
They want to shred all the good-looking pictures from the 80s. And they're buying it back. That was part of the thing. They're buying back all those old ads that people have, I guess, in their garage walls. That's what it said in this thing that I saw.
America,
brewed beer.
They said they were the
women
first.
were the ones doing the brewing. Centuries later, how did the industry pay homage to the founding mothers of beer? They put us in bikinis.
With awesome pictures like that is how.
She looks hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand. Rogan's fury at Miller comes on the heels, obviously, the controversy. I hate identity politics with a passion, and irritated, Rogan said immediately after watching the Miller Lite ad. I really do. Rogan continued, it's so stupid. Human beings make beer, okay? And some human beings look good in bikinis. It's like, what are we even doing? It's crazy, Carr responded. Women do it. Women do it. Women do it. I'd like to see a pie chart of how many women are actually involved in making beer or drinking beer, Rogan said. I'd be willing to bet. I mean, I know for a fact women drink beer. That's undeniable. Lots of women do. In how many of them are involved in making it? That's probably a much smaller amount. But I'm sure that men probably outnumber women in beer consumption, something like 65-35, if I had to guess. Because a lot of women, it depends what you call beer, too. Like, I mean, these women are drinking White Claws like crazy. Are those beer? I would kind of roll that into beer category. You know, it's not a liquor, it's not a mixed drink. So, you know, but you know, how many women are drinking Bud Light versus men? I bet you that's more like 75-25, 80-20, maybe even more skewed towards men. Jamie Vernon, Rogan's producer, chimed in, why would something like this just get resurfaced on like a Monday? Now everyone's talking about it. Because people are angry, Rogan said. They're looking to be angry. I think Bud Light was probably so overwhelming that no one paid attention to anything else, the podcaster added. And now that's kind of died down. It's also stupid. Sales of Bud Light, which is a nation's perennial top-selling beer, have dropped significantly following calls for a boycott of Anheuser-Busch brand. Meanwhile, Miller Lite has picked up market share at the expense of its rival self-inflicted publicity fiasco. Well, I mean, I don't know. Rogan also criticized Anheuser-Busch for trying damage control by putting a patriotic-themed can out. I mean, I think the fact that Rogan's even talking about it is not good for Miller Lite. I don't see the same fervor, the same anger online. People kind of moved from Miller Lite to Target and then Adidas pretty quickly. So it's interesting. I mean, I think that the actual video, I wonder if I can check the dislikes. Well, they definitely don't have the ad public on their YouTube channel, which is interesting to me. They have a bunch of other commercials, but I mean, nobody really is subscribed to them. I remember the video was unlisted, so I'm not going to say that that they deleted it. It was always unlisted, but yeah, huge L for Miller Lite. Hopefully brands now will take notice. We saw a report yesterday that certain type of influencers are getting less jobs right now because companies are afraid. And I 100% support that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.